Hey, welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving into a question that I think a lot of us have wondered about at some point. Why is it that some prayers seem to get a direct, clear answer, while others, well, they just seem to vanish into thin air? The source material we're looking at today says there are two key links that could totally change how we think about this.
So let's just jump right into the deep end, shall we? Our source points out this really common frustration, that gap between the moment you pray and the moment you see or don't see a result. It's not that we don't know how to pray, it's that we might not know how to get an answer. And that can make the whole thing feel pretty empty.
And this quote right here, wow, it really sets the stage for everything else. The idea isn't just to be busy praying. The goal is connection, it's a response. The focus here is shifting away from just religious activity and toward getting actual, tangible results.
All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we're going to tackle that core problem of prayer without results. Then, we'll get into the two big solutions that the source offers up. And finally, we'll see how you can put it all together into a fresh approach to prayer.
Okay, first up, prayer without results. You know, that frustrating gap between praying and receiving. Let's dig into why that happens.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The source argues that the problem isn't that we're not praying enough or even hard enough. The problem is the connection. It draws this really sharp line between what it calls religious activity, just going through the motions, and stepping into the realities of the kingdom. It suggests that a much, much deeper connection is what's been missing.
All right, let's get into the first big solution, the first link for more effective prayer. And this one is all about where your prayer is coming from. It's not just about what you say, but where you're saying it from.
The source calls this first link engaging the heart. And the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. It's that your inner state, what's really genuinely going on inside your spirit, carries way more weight than how well you phrase your words out loud.
And check this out. This comparison just nails the point perfectly. The source puts these two scriptures side by side. The one from Isaiah, it describes a prayer that's basically all talk, no heart. But the one from Jeremiah, that's the real deal. It's a search that involves all of your heart. And that right there is what gets a response.
So the huge takeaway here is that a prayer's power isn't about its grammar or vocabulary. It's about its origin. When your heart is fully engaged, that's when the communication is real, it's authentic, and it's actually effective.
And to make this super practical, the speaker in the source tells this personal story from all the way back in 1982. He felt he needed to understand his prophetic plan. So instead of just saying words, he poured his whole heart into his prayers, asking to hear directly from God. And he says the answer he got was so clear, it has guided his life for the last 40 years.
Okay, on to the second crucial link that our source presents. And this one is described as an incredibly powerful tool that, for many, has become a kind of forgotten link in prayer today.
So the second link is defined as praying in the Holy Ghost, which some people know as speaking in tongues. The source explains, it's this amazing tool you can use when you literally don't know what to pray for, or you just can't find the words. It's presented as a way to let the Spirit step in and pray perfectly on your behalf.
And the source lists some really specific benefits. It's said to help us in our weaknesses, our infirmities. It guarantees our prayers are perfectly in line with God's will. But this next one is fascinating. It's described as an encrypted line of communication. Think of it like a secure channel that negative forces literally cannot hack into or understand.
To really drive home this power aspect, the source tells this absolutely incredible story. Someone had been captured, right? And it turns out their phone ringtone was a recording of the speaker praying in tongues. When the phone rang, the sound apparently freaked out the captors so much that they immediately let the person go, telling them, "Go, and tell him we didn't touch you." Just, wow.
So the practical advice here is pretty straightforward. This is presented as a special kind of prayer hotline you can tap into when your own words and understanding just run out. When you hit a wall, you switch over to this other mode of prayer. Okay, so we've got these two big ideas, the heart and the spirit. How do they actually work together? Let's pull everything into a clear, actionable approach that the source material lays out.
So it really boils down to this simple two-step process. First, the foundation of every prayer is that genuine connection from your heart. But then, for all that complicated stuff, the things that confuse you or are just way beyond your knowledge, you can bring in praying in the Spirit as a second super powerful tool.
And really, the whole point of this is to transform prayer from something that can feel like a one-way street, a monologue, into a real, dynamic dialogue. It's about moving past just the routine and starting to connect directly to see tangible, real-world answers.
And so our source leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Thinking about these two powerful links, connecting with your heart and engaging the Spirit, what's the one practical thing you could change about how you approach prayer starting today?